They had the House, they had the Senate, they could have done anything they wanted, and they came out with that crappy bill. So
But
the Democratic Party, I don't think they understand. Biden, as
the
bad as Biden was, they knew that Biden could not win in 24. They knew that. And yet they still didn't do anything to
but
stop it. So then they threw Kamala Harris out there as a slaughtered lamb, a sacrificial lamb. And no wonder they lost in 24.
I feel like everybody's not pointing to the elephant in the room figuratively. Like
What's that?
that the parties are the exact same. They're mirrors of themselves. One
Yeah.
is loud and one is covert. And they're doing the same thing. And people are not seeing the mirror between the things that the Democrats did to Trump and the things that Trump is doing to our government. He's just
Mm.
doing it very loudly, very publicly through the media. They did it very privately through the litigation, and they're doing the same things. They're taking the same steps.
So
But
why is doing it through litigation worse than doing it through the media?
no, but they're doing the same exact thing. But one has a scrutiny to it, and the other didn't have scrutiny when it occurred. Like we guys said with the yes man. Can we all
Mhm.
agree when we seen Joe Biden last, he had certain cognitive deficiencies.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
When he was elected, he was able-bodied. When it came down to his campaign for 2024, he was not.
It
I
was obvious in the first debate. It was
Yes,
obvious.
and I acknowledge that, which I completely agree. Now,
And
he is the president at the time. He said, "I'm running. I can beat Trump. I beat him once. I'll beat him again." How do you
And
tell
that's
the president,
he's the
"No,
president of the
you're
United
not
States.
running" when he's the president?
He's the
but you have
president
to
of the
keep
United
in mind
States.
he's a human being before he's the president. So
But
age
he's an
is
old
age.
man, stubborn old man.
I
So
You're
agree
not
with
going to
you.
convince him
But
any other way.
but
the deterioration is progressive though.
as a party, they should have had the balls or the fortitude or the guts to say, no, Joe, you're done.
And
So instead, we have this chaos.
But
and
but they can't force that though. They can't
speak
force the president not to run.
Oh,
if
they
you
could have
come
easily forced
Okay,
it.
I will say this: they could have not endorsed
This,
him.
yeah, that's exactly. They should have
You're
gone
right.
to they should have gone to the convention and voted somebody else.
You're right.
Is what
I
they
agree.
should have
I
done,
agree.
but they were too scared to do it.
You're right.
The Democratic Party doesn't have a spot. Like I agree with AT that they do things in covert. I do agree with you. They do things behind the scenes, do things in secret, try to be quiet about it. But that's my whole point, is that they're doing it wrong. What they're doing right now is not working at all.
I agree.
so so the thing about power that people have the illusion of is power wants innovation. Power wants control. Their
Yes.
motivation is not innovation of American society.
No. No.
Their objective is control.
But
And so
I that's
Who
the same
says
on
who
both sides.
says power wants innovation?
no
Nobody.
no power doesn't want innovation.
You're
Right.
right. I'm
Yeah.
saying
Right.
I thought you said power. I thought you worded it differently. Like people think power wants innovation, but no, power wants control.
Once. It does. I
Yeah.
agree. And who wants to control? Who needs the control more now than any time than anybody else? The wealthy. It's the top 1%. They're the ones that need that control because they're the ones that control the masses.
Isn't that just doesn't that just morally blow your mind? Like they have everything. They could
Yeah.
literally have whatever they want, but yet they
They
want
could
to
give up half
suppress.
their stuff and they don't want to do that because it's greed, it's power, it's the ultimate. Again, we'll just history doesn't repeat, it just rhymes. Instead of kings and lords, you have billionaires. Look how many billionaires we have in the world right now.
But you gotta keep in mind those billionaires are the descendants of those kings and lords. So like
Yes.
it's just a trickle down effect.
Oh, yeah, it's old money. It's all
It's
old money. But
it's
Don't
now you
the same
use
have new
thing.
money.
don't use the term trickle down effect because I've heard that way
Reagan,
too many
Reagan,
times.
Reaganomics,
That's
Reaganomics.
not a
But
thing. I'm
that's still,
sorry.
but
No,
they're
no,
still doing that. They're still doing that today. This big beautiful
uneconomic.
bill was nothing more than trickle down economics.
No, I'm saying when I said trickle down, I meant like they pass their money down through their lineage. That's what I meant by it. Not
Yeah,
like
yeah. Okay.
the economy.
Right.
I
Yeah,
get you.
yeah,
I
Right.
get you. I get you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
get
yeah.
you.
No,
But I
no
still
reference,
believe,
no relation.
yeah, yeah. But we can argue all day long about what's wrong with Democrats, what's wrong with Republicans. We can all agree that they're being controlled by the same people.
But
Because when the Supreme Court passed Citizens United and said that corporate entities can invest whatever they want into politics, that was the biggest win for the billionaires that ever came along. And they've been using that ever since.
When was
yeah,
So
but
that?
what I'm saying is Trump being in office right now is not because of Trump. People put him in there for a reason. So he can say as bombastic and say whatever he wants and do it. Like this whole tariff thing.
I would
Come on, man.
I would consider Trump a useful idiot.
And that's exactly what he is. But he
I
has
can't say
people
that.
suckered.
I gotta get pushback on that though. Like you gotta give him his flowers per se. Like in terms of being clever, you have to admit that his tactics have achieved his goals.
First of all, let's not
Mm,
say it's his goal
He's just a
or
face. Yeah,
his
he's a
tactic.
face. Yeah,
He's being so okay. So I say this with the caveat. I understand that Trump's probably the only president we've ever had that whatever comes off the top of his head, people are like, "Oh yes, that's good. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, yeah, okay." And behind closed doors, are like, "Holy shit, I can't believe he said that."
I would argue Joe Biden was a president like that as well.
yeah.
But okay,
I would also
I'll
say
hold
that
that thought for a second.
Reagan was the same way. Bush Sr. was the same way. They're all old men in office.
I think
So
Trump is different than any other president. There has
He's
never,
yeah.
ever, ever been a president like him.
he's the
And
most vulgar and most obscene. Obviously,
all right,
we can all crude, very crude.
let me ask you a question. Agree or disagree? Trump is the most powerful president the US has ever had.
Yes, 100%.
Only
Barry? Barry?
because I will agree with you, only because people listen to what he wants
Right. So we
in
all agree.
Congress.
So we all agree that he's the most powerful. That should scare
George
the living hell out of us right
George
now.
Washington George Washington might be in that conversation just because of how much wealth he had coming into office too.
I can't agree or disagree. I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
I
no,
can't. I
like
don't know. Yeah,
no, like
yeah.
he had like
Washington
a
was,
proportionate wealth
yeah,
to Trump's. So
Washington
yeah,
was very well off, and he had a lot to say on what happened with the founding fathers and everything else. And he got yeah, I agree with that. But as far as having the power to make Congress go to his whim, I've never seen that.
It's not good.
I've never seen that.
That's not how our country should
And
be.
and that's what I'm saying with the way that courts are doing right now, and they're talking about any case that a district court rules down, it's not nationwide unless it's class action.
but
That's going to have big ramifications
Well,
later
that's a
on.
loophole.
Yeah,
That's a loophole for individuals to
yeah,
file nationwide lawsuits.
yeah. But it's not like they threw it out. They just said, no, they can't do that. We'll let it go through the legal system. That could
Well,
take years or decades.
the Supreme Court kind of let that go. The Supreme Court could have said there's no nationwide injunctions, period, not even class action lawsuits, not even this or that. But they left that
Yeah.
open. So now there's Democratic attorneys and parties
Uh-huh.
that have filed class action lawsuits.
How long is it going to take now for that to come through the system?
so
I'm sure Trump's going to do it.
I would say like the thing that my generation is like that we're really pushing for is it's like self innovation because there's never been a mass policy that has ever been good for the American citizen. More times than not, it's just kicking the can down the road. Like even if you look at the New Deal, although it was good for the short term, it began us our like economic descent.
What New Deal?
Like Social Security. That was part of the was it? No, that was in the 50s. New Deal was in the 30s when coming
The Great Depression.
out of the Great Depression. I forget who the president was. I should know better now.
You'd have
Um,
to like
yeah,
kind of
the
catch me
big New
up.
Deal was like the um biggest governmental program. That's what started a lot of the social programs and entitlements and things like that. So yeah, I agree with you that bills like that has a
Patriot Act.
long-term effect. Patriot Act, absolutely.
So
It
hold on.
reserves.
Let's go to entitlements.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I entitled to Social Security when I paid it?
Okay, I see your point because you earned it, but you
It's not
don't.
entitlement. It's I earned it. I
But
paid
you're
into
in,
it. It's
but
my
you're
money.
in, but you're entitled to have Social Security.
But
Right,
but
because I pay into it every paycheck.
But
Right.
you're ignoring
And it's a
you're
tax. It's nothing more than a tax that you're getting a refund of that tax later on in
It's
life.
a savings account.
But it was never meant to be the sole savings account. It
No,
was
I
meant to be
agree. No, I
nothing
agree with you
more.
100%. But still, it's money taken out of my check every
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But
So
it's
it's
still
my money
considered
regardless
right.
of,
I guess it's called entitlement because people are entitled to have it. That's why
and
it's an
and
entitlement.
that's how they make it sound like a negative term. They say, "Oh,
Right.
entitlement this, entitlement that."
Right. Right.
Well,
Right.
I paid into
Well,
it.
well, let me ask you a question then. Look at Medicare. Look at Social Security right now. If
Okay.
you make over 400 and something $1,000, whatever it is, you no longer have to pay into Social Security. Do you think that's fair?
yeah.
I mean, how many?
Right.
I mean, okay, so I could not agree or disagree because I don't know how Social Security works for wealthy people.
They get the same benefits that you and I would get. They'll probably get the maximum amount of monthly Social Security benefits, whatever that is. So they cap it at a certain amount because there's always a max on Social Security.
Right.
So the billionaires or whatever it is don't want to pay into Social Security because they'll never see that benefit.
So
Which
why do you say 400,000 and up? Can people that make 100 or 200 or 300,000
they're
reap?
still going to pay. They're going to still pay into Social Security. They're still going to pay. But at a certain point, you max out, even though you've passed that. Say, for example, you max out $200,000. So between 200 and $400,000, you're still paying in, but you'll never get the same benefit back.
Is it fair?
Yeah.
Is life
It's
fair?
not, it's, I think if you're going to have a program, especially when it's for everybody, regardless of how much money they make, and it's the Social Security is 6.2%. 6.2% of somebody's income when they're only making 100,000, only making $50,000 a year is a big number. But somebody making $500,000 a year and they cap it at 400, it's not as big of a number. I mean, we can
I
go and talk
agree.
about the
I
tax
agree.
rate. I believe we should have a flat tax rate. There's no need to have these variable tax tables.
I disagree with the flat tax.
Why is that?
Are you talking about a flat tax on income or like a
A flat tax on everything: income, capital gains,
so the
selling a
people at the
house.
bottom are paying the same as the people at the top?
Yeah, but
No, no,
that tax rate is like
no.
10%.
But the people at the bottom would not pay the same amount because currently the people at the top pay the majority of the taxes just because you got to keep in
Of the
mind
exemption.
uh ten
Yeah,
percent of a million is gonna be a hell of a lot more than 10% of 1,000, you know?
Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah. I get it. I get it. But
I
as an
also
individual,
I also believe though too that the tax know how to not pay taxes. They have
hmm?
accountants that know how to not
Oh,
pay taxes. So you
oh.
may say,
So Barry, let me ask you this then: why is it that if you make $50,000 a year and
hmm,
you're straight up W-2 income,
yep.
no mortgage, no charitable donations, no stock funds, anything like that, you pay the max tax rate. It's like 12%, whatever that tax rate is. But if I have $500,000, I can get all these different tax loopholes and tax sheltered
No.
and capital gains, which is a lower rate than what
So
the ordinary income
Hold
is.
on, I want to hear what he says. Hold on, go ahead.
So why is the tax code benefit the wealthy and not as much as the poor?
Look at the big beautiful bill.
Oh, that's an even bigger disaster. But just in general, even
Look at
before
the
the big beautiful bill,
2017 tax cuts.
yeah, but it's
It's right
always
there.
been that way. It's always been that way in history. Throughout the entire tax code in this country, the poor pay a bigger nut out of their pay, out of their assets, out of the money they earn.
So
They
it's
pay a bigger
factual,
nuts.
and I've researched this that the big beautiful bill will
Hmm.
give the biggest tax cut for the wealthy, obviously, and
Hmm.
the middle class will get crumbs,
Hmm.
and the poor will actually pay more in taxes.
Yes, yes. So you're talking about politicians listening to their constituents. Most of their constituents, I cannot speak today.
Constituents.
Thank you. They're the ones that are poor. They're the ones that's
So,
going to be hit the hardest by this big, beautiful bill.
so look
Yet
at all
they
the
still
southern
voted
states.
against it.
Look at all
but
the southern states.
Yes,
A lot of
Mississippi,
the
Alabama,
southern
Louisiana.
states are red,
Yes,
and
you.
they're the most impoverished
Poor.
states,
Yes, yes,
but yet they're Trump supporters. Now,
yes.
what's the disconnect
but
between the voter and the policy?
so So I got two
Mm,
things. So one with the poor, you have to keep in mind being poor, owning your own land and having your own resources is different from being poor in the north, being relying on systems that you have to pay perpetual rents to. And then another thing with the tax
mm.
code, a lot of people don't understand. Although the wealthy pay less in taxes, they don't get to retain their money. They have to spend that money in order to get those deductions. And everybody is privileged to those same things. You just have to structure your entity and you have to basically earn your income in the way that would make it that way. Like
All right.
if you're a
But
W-2 employee, you have the option to trade off your benefits that you get from like your job per se, and you can be 1099. And that way you
okay.
will be able to take those same
Let me push
deductions that
back
the
on.
billionaires
I'm
Yeah.
going
take.
to push
Yeah.
back on that
Yeah.
too.
Let me jump in because I did taxes myself. And most people today would not even know how to begin to be a 1099 employee.
Most.
Most people don't even realize how much deductions that they can take. But they have the security knowing that someone's going to take my tax out. I don't have to worry about it. That's what people want. You're right. If they want to make all their income 1099, but then you have no benefits, you have no securities. And we had this discussion the last time we talked. It's just a different way that people make money today. But
So the
most people,
wealthy,
a W-2 income.
the wealthy own property, right? Let's
Mm-hmm.
take Trump, for example. One of his court cases was because he was claiming losses on his real estate while
Hmm.
at the same time getting loans from banks and saying
Based on his profits.
my property's worth billions of dollars.
Hmm.
So you can't have both at the same time. That's what one of his court cases was about.
But so so you said that he got loans based off of profits, but he was taking losses on properties.
At the
He
same
was
time.
he was working both sides. Some
At
he
the
was taking
same
losses,
time.
some was making. It depends on the deal, but he played both sides. If he was looking for a loan, he made all this money. He was looking to pay taxes. Oh, I lost all this
But
money. You
Now,
but you
can't
gotta
play
keep
both
in mind
ways.
those loans could have been against the property's intrinsic value because land does not depreciate.
Land doesn't, but buildings do.
Yeah, but the land has value and you could get a loan against the value of it and that could
But the fact of
survive.
the
how do
matter
you
that he swore on a document, a legal
affidavit?
document, affidavit, swearing that the information on there was correct when in fact it was false.
How do
So
you claim a loss and a win at the same time? That
If you
doesn't
have
make sense.
if you have two books, you have two sets of books, you can.
Which is
And
why
that's
his
exactly what he's
accountant
doing.
went to jail
Yeah.
yeah, the
and
fall
he
guy.
I'm
served
sure he
two
got paid.
years or something, and now
Yeah.
he's out, and
Yeah.
now he's probably getting
And
paid.
he's going to get pardoned by Trump. It won't come
What was
on
his
his
name?
record. And I
Frank
can't remember
or
his name.
Freddie or something.
He was a fall guy. He was a fall guy.
He's a fall guy, and he took
Yeah.
it. He
Yeah.
took it for
Yeah.
Trump.
Yeah. All I'm saying is Trump is in office. Trump has as much power as he does because he suits a purpose for a certain group of people that we will never, ever know. And we'll always have that. Nothing will ever happen to Trump. He will walk out of here scotch-free. He'll probably go down as being one of the greatest presidents we ever had.
Nope, I disagree.
Don't forget when Lincoln was the president, he was considered to be an idiot with the whole Civil War and everything else. Now he's looked at being our greatest president. JFK, same thing with JFK. The whole Bay of Pigs disaster and the economy going crazy in Vietnam and everything that was going crazy around
Who
the world.
determines what a great president is?
History.
Right.
And the people that write history
What
determines
what
that.
determines what makes a person great besides
Time.
history, like what they do, right?
Yeah, well,
The
people are
residual effects.
well, Lincoln freed the slaves, but and he didn't do
What
that
did
because he
Trump
wanted
do?
to. Oh, he Trump's going to get credit for the economy during his time.
Which
His
time?
economy was good between 16 and 20. The economy was roaring,
Was
and
the
then COVID,
economy
and
roaring
then
when
COVID
Biden
hit.
left office?
It was coming back, but then you had a
No, I mean,
problem.
was it better than it was during Trump?
Mm.
I know the
I cannot
answer.
speak to that. I can't. I do not know. I do not
It
know what
was.
the
It was
stats.
higher than when Trump left office. Now
Is that
we can go into
Okay.
the topic of COVID.
Yeah.
COVID happened during his term, and I tell everybody this exact same thing. If Trump would have erred on the side of caution during COVID and said, listen, let's be safe. If you want the vaccine, it works, or whatever the stats say about the vaccines, but make your own choice. But I think you guys need to be safe, yada, yada, yada. He would have gotten elected in 2020. I truly believe that because the economy was doing so well
Yeah.
before
But
COVID hit. Now, what he did was said stupid stuff like, "Oh, can we do?
Drink bleach.
Yeah, can you inject bleach in your arm and UV rays and this and that?" That's where he lost me. I'm
And
like,
that's my
dude,
point. That's my point with Trump. Nobody says stupid stuff like that. Nobody says stupid stuff like that. It's all an act.
I no,
It's
it's
all an
real.
act.
He is that's
Nobody's that
no,
stupid. Nobody's that
he is
stupid.
that stupid. I honestly
No.
think there is no way. There is
The-
no way he looked over at the I don't know the health and human services whatever lady that was and said, "Oh yeah, we can inject bleach."
no,
No,
no. I
no,
can't.
no, no, that's not possible.
I refuse to agree that this country voted an idiot. Trump is cunning, he's conniving. The man is the best con man that ever
In a
walked.
negative way.
And then he happened to stumble into whatever you want to call conspiracy, Illuminati bullshit, whatever you want to call it. And then say, okay, he's a great tool to have because
can
He's a
nobody wanted
tool.
him.
He's a
Nobody
tool.
wanted him.
Yes.
Remember in 16, nobody wanted him. Every Republican said no, he's an idiot. Lindsey Graham was his biggest critic. And
can
now
we
he's his
acknowledge
lapdog. Look at Marco Rubio in the debates, and he called him Little Marco. And now
They're
he's
all
just,
lap dogs.
come
can we
on,
acknowledge
man.
though that he was right about COVID initially?
As
What,
far as
that it was a lab experiment gone wrong?
That and the fact that the way we got over COVID is basically we just went outside.
I do agree. I will tell you because I lived in Florida, and Florida
I
was one of the first
disagree.
states that opened up. And I agree that society should open back up. But the way that people were demagogued for either taking the vaccine or not taking the vaccine, that's where everything started to split. I agree that if Trump would just took the conservative route, I agree he would have got reelected. But he created such a barrier
Uproar.
between people, such the opposite, so
But
polarizing. And then how does COVID become a political issue?
he didn't do that. Media did that. He didn't do it alone, rather. He didn't do it alone. He did it with the media.
Okay, I
That's
give you
another
that.
issue unaddressed.
And I have a problem with the media. I do have a problem with the media. In fact, I have a huge problem with the media
All right,
because
we're
you can't trust.
segueing like we're getting on a lot of different. We
Yes,
could go on to a lot of different
sorry,
routes
sorry,
with it.
we
Are we
bounce.
talking
I'm
about
sorry.
COVID? Or are
Okay,
we talking about the media or what?
okay. Let's jump back to COVID. So
Okay.
for COVID, I agree with you. If Trump would have just been more conservative and not say the stupid stuff, he would have got reelected. But he decided to go a different route because he decided that he was going to take control and he was going to take power. And that's exactly, and then
Do
he
you
lost
okay?
it
So to
and he
that
came back
point,
bigger and
do
better. Go
you
ahead.
think he listens to experts, or do you
No,
think he listens to his instinct and his gut?
no, I think he's
Is
being
he an
controlled.
expert in everything?
No, I think he's a puppet. I think he's a puppet.
I
I
agree.
disagree.
I agree
You,
100% with Herman on that one.
I feel
yeah.
like we have to acknowledge that every single president before him conferred with experts. So
Yeah,
why isn't
that's
he
a good
Mhm.
thing,
afforded that
right?
same luxury?
Conferring
Yeah.
experts is a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but you saying he's a puppet, like he doesn't know
Mm.
anything firsthand. He's only talking about information that he gets from his experts, and we
Like
have to
any other president.
acknowledge,
Like
like
RFK.
not like
Oh God, don't get me started on him.
like he'll ask a scientist about something science related, like an expert in that field.
But
But
does
then
he?
Uh,
disagree with them. But then he disagrees with them.
Yeah, does he listen to him?
So what's the
yeah.
point of even
but-
asking an expert if you're gonna come up with your own opinion anyway?
So
That's what he
listen,
did during COVID.
like look at the tariff situation. He
Oh,
conferred
come on,
with
Aaron.
he
AT, come
conferred
on.
with economists, but listen though, he got different trade deals. Not saying that they're good or bad. He created change.
Name one good trade deal that he's got. Name one right now that
Yes,
he
please
has in his
do.
pocket. In
Please
his
do.
pocket right now, name one trade deal that he has.
Please do.
So,
I'd
so
love to hear.
we were getting taxed at a higher rate on imports from China than we had after he did the tariffs.
We're getting taxed at a higher rate now.
No, it probably he changed like trade routes, like ones that we were getting hit over the head with. He made more reasonable. That was his goal. The tariffs weren't for him to have tariffs long term. It was
So
a
why is
political
why does
game
he
for
so
negotiation.
so
It was
why
a
does he
business
have a
tactic.
So why does it have a 10% tax on the EU? It has a 35 or 25% tax on Canada and Mexico, who we are trading partners with. Right now, he's threatening bigger tariffs because nobody's willing to deal with him. Nobody is. He
No,
has that BS deal he has with the UK, but the UK doesn't have a deal with anybody because they got out of Brexit. They got out of
but
the
you you
EU.
you have to take a step back from what's going on and what the media tell us about him and really examine it from, because we're in, whether we like it or not, he's
Mhm.
spearheading our charge. So we have to take a
A
step back
charge
and
to what
analyze his
though?
actions.
But
So
a
what I'm
charge to
saying
what?
is, like, when you take a step back, you have to keep in mind he's running our country from a business perspective. And when
You
your
can't run a
business is
country, but
hemorrhaging,
Aaron,
you
you
have to
can't
become
run it.
more cutthroat.
You can't run a country like a business. You
No,
cannot.
you
Because
cannot.
a business is based upon profits. You can't treat people based on profits.
I
You
agree.
can't. The two
I
don't marry.
agree.
The two don't work. You
But
cannot have compassion for the poor and the homeless and the weak when your bottom line is a profit. You
but
can't do that.
I
but
agree.
I'm
I
gonna
agree.
counter that point with having compassion for people has made us suffer way more than it would have been if we would have to face the hardships independent. Think
No, I
about the
disagree.
welfare state
Make
and how
who
it has
suffer?
destroyed.
They,
The
but
welfare
but here's
state
the
has
thing.
destroyed
No, 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 no,
communities,
no, no, no,
not
no.
black communities.
Aaron. The
Listen,
rich need the poor. The rich need the poor. Whatever they
Yeah.
do is just to keep the poor alive long enough to do whatever it is they need them to
To
do.
get them
It's not compassion.
groceries, to stock the shelves, to give
It's
them
not compassion.
gas.
Because if they didn't do it, who would do it? Their kids aren't going to do it.
They're not doing it.
but
It's nothing more than it's. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, cuz,
I
and I'm
don't
not
hear what
saying
you're
you're
saying.
wrong.
I don't
What
hear
I'm
what you're
saying is I disagree with you completely on that.
no, but like what I'm
Completely.
saying from an economic level, the
Mm-hmm.
90s, like when the welfare state came to be, people don't understand that in
Mm-hmm.
America, life was always lived in phases. If you started
Mm-hmm.
poor, you rarely
Mm-hmm.
ever ended poor. Rarely. If you had a work ethic in America, you could make a
Yeah,
way.
I agree. The American, there's American dream, and I am a member of the American dream.
So
Absolutely, I agree with that. But you have
so
a certain section of society that will always be poor, that will never be
no,
able to have the way to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and move themselves up the social
I'm not
ladder.
I'm not debating that, but I'm saying that the welfare state became a system that inhibited people who were pulling themselves up by the bootstraps to
Hmm.
fall to the population that couldn't pull themselves up just
Hmm.
because of the economic effect of having those taxes to have to
Yeah.
pay for certain new welfare systems and also having to pay for policing because people don't understand the public safety
Hmm.
budget that is so big in every county, every state
It's
isn't
always from the
something
poor
that has
neighborhoods.
always been.
Yeah, and
This
it's
is
always in the poor neighborhoods. It's always in the
Public
sections, the
safety
towns.
is paid for by the taxpayer.
But here's a problem you have with public safety, especially in, say, a city like Orlando. They have the really nice neighborhoods and they have good tax base and everything else, and they have the most pristine police force you can have. But the minute you go over to Paramore Avenue or Mercy Drive or someplace like that, you don't have the same. I was in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, cuz, and I locked
Same
my keys.
thing.
I,
Same
I locked my
thing.
keys in the car. And I'm freaking out. I don't, it's a rental car and nobody's cutting into my car. And they say, oh, just call the police. They'll come take care of you. The police showed up. I think it was Oak Brook or Oakwood neighborhood. I can't remember now. But the police showed up, broke into my car, got the keys, and said, thank you. Have a very nice day. I can't do that on the south side of Chicago or over on the west side of Orlando.
Why do you
People
think that
get
is?
treated, oh, because people treat the poor like they're less than, that they don't matter.
No,
They
that's
treat the
not
poor
why
like
they
they
treat them like that. They
what?
police, and from my experience, I'm not a police officer, but I've talked to police that work in the city of Chicago. Police are treated differently in the city, in these bad neighborhoods,
so
just like people are treated differently in these bad neighborhoods. It's a two-way street. You
but
don't get a police officer going into a low income neighborhood being like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing? What's the
Hmm.
problem?" And not
Yeah,
worry
that's
about
true.
getting shot at or
so
fucking stabbed.
so
Like, let's be real here.
I gotta get pushback on that because like we have to get away from labeling. Just because I come from a neighborhood that they would say was a bad neighborhood, but I have a
Mhm.
different perspective just because like my
Is
family is
it
like an
true or is it not
international
true?
family. So like we like we don't necessarily prescribe to the same like American philosophy. So like my home life was different from a lot of my friends' home life. So like I acknowledge that I had the privilege of like having loving parents, and like having loving parents makes a difference than
We're talking
having
about
to fend for
neighborhoods.
self. Huh?
We're talking about poor neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like the
You're the
labeling of a
exception to the rule.
but no, we didn't say we said bad. Like if it's a poor neighborhood, like we can't
I
say it's
got you.
bad neighborhood. We gotta
Poor
say
I see what
poor.
you said. Poor doesn't necessarily mean bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't, but can we agree that bad things happen in poor neighborhoods?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
I would say
Bad thing happens in good neighborhoods too.
Sure, I agree. I agree.
I would say the poor neighborhoods are overly policed.
Would
The
you not
poor
agree though
neighborhoods
that
are overly
don't you think
policed,
though that the poor neighborhoods do have a higher rate of crime, especially burglaries and thefts?
But policing doesn't
That's
take place by only the police. Policing
Oh,
takes
don't
place
get me
by
started on
gangs as
police.
well.
Now, when you want to jump about policing in this country, that's a totally different topic in itself. Because that is nothing that no, we don't have time to get into that right
time
now.
out.
We need to have a conversation about policing on another day. But I still believe that you'll always have a section of society that's always going to be poor. That's always going to be the ones that's going to go, do the jobs that nobody wants, which immigrants do right now. So this whole
No,
thing about
but
getting rid of immigrants blows my mind because then who do you think is going to do this work? But anyway,
no, but what I'm saying is it isn't about the poor people being poor. It's just about the expenditure that we had to incur as a result of the welfare system and as a result of creating 100,000 new jobs overnight. People don't understand the
yeah.
cost that we had to pay for creating 100,000 jobs overnight. And how can you get 100,000
But
qualified people overnight?
you
It's not
cannot.
that we
What
have
are you talking about?
like that's what the '94 crime bill was, and that's when the introductory of the welfare state began. And
No, the welfare state started way before then. The welfare state started way back in the
no, but like
70s.
the with well the coupling with mass incarceration is what I mean. Like
Okay.
that's what I meant by that. Like the coupling effect.
Yeah. Well, and when you have, especially hidden the African American society, when you have a quarter of
Poor.
your males in prison, you have a quarter, and for whatever BS bullshit drug charge they have that serve long terms, and the effect that has on that poor family or whatever family, not having both parents present has an effect on society.
Yeah.
And so,
Who's at
but
fault for not both parents being present?
System.
the system,
System
Why?
I
and
agree,
people.
it's
You're
the
telling me
system.
that there aren't
Look
delinquent
what Biden
fathers?
look what Biden did in the 90s with the crime bills that he had. They incarcerated more black males during that time than any other period since the Civil
Which
War.
is probably standard across the country. Am I
Yeah,
right or am I wrong?
but it
I'm not saying
stands
it's
in the
right. I'm
House.
not saying what he did or the bill he passed or the
But the
act he
bills
passed
that
is
he
right. But
passed
is it
affected
true?
the bills he passed affected the African American society more than any other society.
I would say I would say we gotta be careful with labeling it the African American society. That's what they want people to get the misnomer about. But
So
they
what are you saying it is then?
it's poor society, poor people, not just African
Okay.
American. Poor
Yeah.
illiterate people is
Yeah,
who
yeah,
they
because
target.
blacks, whites, Hispanic, it's same thing you could have with poor white kids or poor Hispanic kids. Same thing. I agree with you. You're absolutely right.
Poor
Now, are
people.
we going to
It had
stand
the
by that?
biggest stand by what?
The non African American label? Because I don't hear a lot of people crying about poor white people.
No, there are poor white people get caught up in the
I
system
know
just
there
as
are.
much as black
I'm
people
just
do. But as
saying,
a percentage of society, if you're talking about this country being whatever
what's
13%
the
black or
highest percentage
20%
of
black,
people that
whatever it
are
is.
incarcerated?
But when you have more of that society incarcerated than you have of white or
What
Hispanic,
part?
it speaks a
What
lot.
part? What part?
I don't have the statistic in front of me. It's something like 25% of black males between the ages of
Black
18 and
males, right?
45.
Which is
But
probably
also
the
to,
majority, I would
but
imagine.
you also have you have a higher number of white males in that age group in prison as well. So I'm not saying
I
white males
disagree.
don't get arrested. You're saying then that so if you look at a prison system, the highest group is going to be white,
No, I
followed
think
by
the majority is going to be black.
no, it's the
I think they're disproportionately
it's
arrested.
about 50-50 in the prison. But if you look at
I don't know.
what
This is just my opinion. I don't or what I
okay,
think.
It's proven, and I don't have the numbers to back it up right now. But we can all agree that more black males, as a percentage of that race, more black, more Hispanic males are arrested more than white males.
But
Yes.
But I'm
Yes.
not saying that we don't have white males being arrested, but as a portion of that population, it is less.
like I would agree, but you also have to give heed to population size and density and where they
Yeah,
target and where
yeah,
they target the poor people from. So
yeah.
like it's not necessarily a race thing, but it's a correlated thing. It is correlated, but it's not causation, I would say. But
Here's the thing that I'll say about this. Race is the biggest sore, touchy, third rail in the US, but only in the US. Only in the US do you fill out documentation that says you're black, white, or whatever. Anywhere else around the world, you just put down that you're here. It doesn't matter what color you are.
but
I think
this is the only
society
country
makes,
that
Government makes it, not society, government.
but wouldn't you say that government's put in place by society?
To a point.
Yeah, I mean, that's
but
why we have elections and that's why we have laws and things
Yes, and
like
that's
that.
where I say, does our vote matter? To
Yeah,
a point, it
yeah,
does.
yeah,
But what happens after that doesn't really
yeah. But
doesn't matter.
but
I think race is often being used as a weapon and
Yeah,
as a
I agree
divide,
100%.
and it separates. And
It
everybody from any
divides.
background can relate to being poor. I don't care if you're black, white, green, or whatever
Where
it is,
are
but
you walking
you
to?
are
Is my
poor.
question. Hold on, time out. Where are you walking to? Are
I'm
you in
sorry, my
like a
backyard.
resort or something?
It's my backyard. It's my
I
backyard. Sorry.
swear to God, you're like a Caribbean resort or something.
I'm in Florida, man. I'm in Florida.
Like you're walking around, I see palm trees and lights and this and that.
Yeah,
Like, what the
sorry.
fuck?
But no, but
I
again,
want to be where you're at.
I have a good life, man. I ain't gonna lie, I have a good life. But all I'm saying is race has become an issue when I don't think it should be.
What do you mean it has become an issue? It's always been an
Was
issue.
been an issue. Good point. Excellent point.
There's
It always
never
has been.
not been an issue since
But
what,
when
slaves?
so do you ever see a time then that race will no longer be an issue?
I don't think
No.
it's as big of an issue as like so in my generation, we're like the
Mhm.
first generation where we actually interacted with other races and we actually have like strong friendships with other races.
But you also the some
Oh, get out
generation
of
too
there.
that when
No. What is your generation? Hold on. What's your generation?
I graduated high school in 2016.
oof. Barry,
Dude,
when do
you're
you
a
graduate?
baby.
Barry, when do
You're
you
a little
graduate?
pup.
Barry, when do you graduate?
No, I disagree. I disagree with you 1,000%.
When did you get
The old
when did you graduate?
1998.
98. Okay,
I
I
was
guess you
born
So,
close.
in
okay. I disagree with uh with AT on this. I played sports my whole life. So I've
yeah,
always
same.
gotten along. I've always been friends with people of other races. So
Mhm.
to say that your generation is the first to get along with other races and intertwine and say that's not a thing.
No, but I
Mhm.
was speaking outside of like a sports context is because we have more common threads nowadays. Like everybody plays Call of Duty. Everybody plays 2K. Like everybody plays
Yeah.
MLB the Show.
I will give
Everybody
you that
plays.
I will give you the barriers between the races today are a lot lower than what they were. And I graduated in 1983. And I was right around just after they started integrating schools in the late 70s. So there was always a barrier between the races mixing or communicating and getting along. That no longer exists today, especially with technology and just every one of my grandchildren are biracial, and I'm proud of it. I think now it's getting easier, but you're always going to have the people on the sideline stoking the fire, the racism fire, just like Hitler did it back in the
Republicans,
40s, just like they're doing right now. I don't know what it's going to take for race to no longer be an issue in this country.
it's
Uh,
not. It
I don't
will
know.
never happen.
Now, I hope it happens. I do hope it happens for you, AT. I hope it happens for you. But I've chosen to be me, regardless of race.
yeah,
I don't judge people. I'm like MLK. Judge me by the content of my character, not by the color of my skin.
but
Oh,
I'm I'm
backwards. I got backwards.
I'm not
Oh, you
ignorant
want to
enough to
quote
say that
MLK? Let's talk
it's
about civil
everywhere.
rights then.
Hmm?
Right now, civil rights. Oh man, we don't
Yeah,
have that
that's a
kind of
topic,
time.
right?
We're gonna have to come. We're gonna. I don't have that kind of time because my battery's about.
Well, you brought him up,
Nah,
and you think Trump's all about civil rights?
no, not at all.
let's do a part 2 next Sunday.
I'm good with that.